Welcome to the Healing Path. I'm Laura Donnelly, and this is an adventure that I started doing as part of my work with body-brain balance and dancing with ease. The main thing about this approach for healing that I share and that all my guests kind of share, well, not kind of, they really share, this idea that all healing, no matter what modality you use, and this can include traditional medicine, whatever type of healing you do, it really starts from a deep internal place of self-healing. And I started thinking about all the people I know, and so many of the people I know and love who are colleagues and friends are working in various areas of healing. And so sharing their joy and their work and their spoke on the healing path. My goal is for you to meet new people, to find different healing modalities that interest you, spark your energy and creativity. And so today my guest is Dorsett, and she is, I think we've known each other a couple of years maybe. And I'll let her tell you a little bit more about her work, but today we're going to dive into sound healing. So here's Rush.
Hello, everyone.
I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, Laura. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
So maybe you want to share how you're a beautiful, beautiful singer. And I've seen some videos that you posted and I just play them over and over.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And probably, like there's performance singing, which at its best, I think is also healing because it uplifts the audience. But then there's really focused, energetic sound healing.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you add this to your palette, I guess, like your palette of vocal tools?
I love that question. Thank you. Yes. So it really comes down to, it's been a journey, and something that I've always been interested in is the authentic voice and what really is that. And so I've been on a mission to discover what that means for me, because I know that for me, that's the key to my personal freedom. If I can show up authentically, if I can express myself authentically, and my voice is one of the tools for that self-expression. And then if I can also support others in discovering what that is for them. And so for me, I've always loved singing, always, my whole life. And I'll always remember the moment when I was in choir as a young kid and absolutely fell in love with harmonizing with people. And just the experience of being immersed in sound with other people. It was a transcendent experience. And from a young age, I didn't have the language to articulate what that experience was, but all I knew is that it felt like the most natural thing in the world, that I felt peace. I felt like I was at home within myself, and I just had an affinity to do it even more. So that took me on a journey of saying, okay, well, I love singing. That must be the key to feeling this way and to expressing myself in this way. So I studied singing, formally at a conservatory, and studied opera and oratorio and all these different styles, and found facets of myself in performing and performing other people's music. And I love and revere the classical lineage of singing. However, I always felt like there was a part of me that was missing in that. I felt like, wait, who am I? Who am I as an infinite being, right? That we all are. That how do I want to truly express myself through music and through my voice? And so that brought me on a more spiritual path, and healing path. And I actually went through a long process. And of course, it's ongoing, right? We're always healing and uncovering layers, but I've been through quite a process of getting clear on what was some of the conditioning that I had around my voice and around my expression. What were some of the things that I was taught that I was allowed to do, that I had permission to do? What were some ways that I had shut down my voice and was not speaking my truth and didn't even know what it was that I wanted to communicate? And I'm sure many listeners can connect with that experience. And It's an uncomfortable thing to know that there's something within, and how do we get it out? How do I free up my voice and my expression and my creativity? So I did a lot of healing work, and sound healing was one of the modalities that really spoke to me. Obviously, as a musician, immediately I was drawn, and I said, oh my gosh, you can heal using sound? This is amazing. And obviously, I did not discover that, because sound healing is one of the most ancient healing modalities there is. And cultures have been using sound to heal for, centuries and centuries and centuries. So, but it was so wonderful for me to discover that this was something that I could use in my daily life, and to share this with others. And so really what that looks like is listening to healing music. And we can talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes if we'd like. But then to answer your question about, how did you shift from singing in a certain way into singing in this more energetic way, the energetic healing aspects of the voice. That really came through a process of self-inquiry and introspection and practicing. And it really, one of the tools that helped me the most is a tool, I actually use it with my clients all the time, which is called YogaVoice. And it's a modality that was created by my mentor, who studied Ashtanga yoga and also a systematic vocal technique. And he's a wonderful voice teacher, but he weaves in the yoga philosophy and the yoga practice. And so what that entails is basically understanding singing technique from a root energetic source. So rather than, kind of in the more Western traditional sense of saying, okay, why don't you lower your jaw, project the voice, breathe in this way, and it's all these things that, yes, they help, but they don't actually approach the energetic aspects of the voice and what we really want to express. So with YogaVoice, what we do is a lot of chakra aligning and chakra toning. And then we weave that in to vocal practices. And that's one of the main things that supported me in really finding my voice and how I want to express. So that was a long-winded answer to your question, but that's the truth of it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume you still also do concert performing and things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
has this changed? The reason I'm asking is because the work that I do, I call it dancing with ease because it's a play on words, right? So that you actually do physical dancing in a way that is easy, which I heard as you were talking about this, that the voice becomes your ability to move the voice through your system becomes easier when you're not thinking about, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to think of this, and suddenly you have all these techniques and ideas, and everybody gave them to you for the best reasons. But their results, your jaw does drop when you're at ease and connected to the root source of your sound. Your jaw drops and the sound comes out. Mm-hmm. Same thing with dancing. When you are at ease in your system, your body moves really well, and it doesn't grip in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so I'm thinking that you have all your technique. It's not that you don't study technique.
Mm-hmm.
Technique is valuable. It's useful. It gets you from one place to another.
Definitely.
But at some point, to let your voice live, then you kind of have to free something in you.
Yes. Yeah. You're articulating it perfectly.
I listened to some of your summit that you had, your voice.
Yes. You're very well versed, and also you're a dancer and you're a mover, and really that's the same thing. It's coordination. It's coordination, and it's coming back to your center. So I'm so glad that you found that through line, because it's so true. There is a place for technique. It is useful. It really is. And I think where we can get a little lost in technique sometimes, though, just like you said, when we start thinking about it and, trying to incorporate everything and coordinate everything. And then all of a sudden we're all tensed up trying to do it right and thinking about the result and not being present in the moment and letting go of that judgment. So when we start to get too much into our minds, that's when the technique doesn't serve us. And that's when we can come back to connecting in with the sensation and our alignment. And what is so interesting, I find, is that when we, for example, I'll just give you a tangible example in singing. Let's just say, I'll give you my own personal experience. So there was a time in my singing journey when I was having a hard time with breathing, and this is for singers, is, breath control, and there's so much stuff around how do you have enough breath to sing these lines, and how do I have the breath moving freely so I can sing these high notes and all this stuff. And one of my teachers said, oh, you're locking, your diaphragm is actually locking in the middle of this phrase. And I know it's because you're trying to get the power to come through the voice for this musical passage, but actually it's creating more tension. So you need to just release that. So she was like, okay, let's do these exercises. Let's release it. And so I tried it, but then it kept locking again. It kept locking again, even though my mind was like, stop doing that. We can't, we can't just tell our larynx to like, okay, larynx, like be in this position to sing the A note. Like, no, that's not how our body works. It's a holistic instrument. So everything matters, who we're being, how we're being, our energy that day, everything comes into play. So I'm sharing that because what actually supported me in unlocking the breath was tapping into my root chakra. And I had no idea that it was connected. And it was actually happening through my feet. My feet were not fully grounded. And once I learned how to coordinate my breath and have onset of the voice through root chakra, then everything released. My jaw released, my diaphragm was free, and the breathing was opened up. And so it's just interesting how we can approach our expression from these energetic levels and get to the source, the root. And then one more thing I'll share to that end is that when I was thinking about the root chakra, it wasn't just a physical manifestation of an imbalance. It was actually also emotional, mental, energetic. It helped me realize, oh, wow, I wasn't fully grounded in this part of my life. I was feeling like I had just been moving around a lot. Like I was moving to a new location. There were a lot of, I just wasn't grounded in my actual life. And so understanding this was helping me because I was able to say, oh, I can use these practices to actually become grounded in my life. It's not just for my singing. It's not just for my speaking. It's everything. And so in that way, singing is a practice of healing all aspects of life. How we are singing is how we are being. How we are being is how we are singing. So it's a self-diagnostic tool to kind of check into, how am I? How am I doing? How am I doing in my emotions? And how am I doing in my breathing? It reveals to ourselves the patterns that we're holding around the breath. And as you know, as a practitioner with Alexander technique, the breath is, that is the foundation of everything. It's the quality of our mind is reflected in how we're breathing. So yeah, anyway.
It's just it's so fun. And I'm thinking about the parallels, and I was remembering back to how you said when you were a child and singing together in a group in harmony. And one of the things I loved most about dancing was dancing to music because it felt like I was the music.
Mm-hmm.
That it was the music was what was moving me and giving me information on how to move my body. And I always loved singing. My dad was a singer. My mom was a singer. She also taught dancing. And they met. They were on a tour for a fair, like fairs, and they started in Louisiana and went all the way to the north part of the country all summer. And they flew my dad in the middle. Somebody got sick and he took over, and they met. And then that's how I'm here. Through singing. No.
Yes.
And I loved to sing as a kid, but I had so much tension in my throat chakra, actually, probably, but maybe all over in terms of stuff, that it's really just in the last few years, as I have been continuing to do my practice of ease, which is, again, like you're talking about singing, a whole body practice. Mm-hmm. we get to thinking at some point, somehow in our education or something, that our parts are disconnected.
Mhm.
But like you said, part of your freeing your voice was getting your feet on the ground in a new way. And so as I've been dancing with ease in my own system and playing with stuff and reflecting on things, right? I mean, something comes up, maybe a passage is difficult, a movement is difficult, and then I go sit in my body and I think, what's going on here? Why is this place not moving freely? And then that opens the door to anything, to
Mhm.
dreams, to memories, to who knows what. And just in the last probably 6 months, something left. Some pattern I was holding in my system
Mhm.
left. So I'm really excited about your workshop this weekend.
Wow! That is amazing.
So I kind of, because before I wouldn't sing in front of anybody because I was sharp. My voice was sharp. It was always sharp. And
Uh-huh.
now I'm like, oh, that was tension.
Yeah.
But nothing anybody said, and I took voice lessons and everything. Nothing I did changed it. You know, it just there was something not working. Now it's working on it. Like, so sometimes I put on the Sound of Music and I sing in my car.
Oh, I love that. And okay, how much joy does it bring you to do that?
Total joy.
So much
Total
joy.
joy. And if I never sing in front of people, it doesn't matter,
It
right?
doesn't matter.
Because
It's for you.
I can just freely, the what else is there's also, like, in Young Frankenstein, when Madeline did that loud woohoo,
Yes.
I can do that, I don't have to be worried about that anymore. And it's like, yes, it's like one more piece comes back to me. And I think, well, that's funny. I think the voice is so with us all the time, even if we don't say words.
Yeah.
The sound is important. I mean, like just that you can, with your sound, that can mean 15 or 20 things, and it's not even a word.
Mhm.
And so
Yes.
so the idea of your voice as descriptive of who you are, of representative of who you are,
Yeah.
is so wonderful.
Mhm. Oh, there's so much I love about what you're saying. Even as you were describing the relief that you feel, just, I can just sing and feel joy just because I want to feel joyful,
Yeah.
and I noticed, like, in your body and in your gesture, it was, like it was a release, a relaxing rather than holding tension. And I love what you're describing about something released out of your energetic system that allowed you to release that tension. And what I was hearing you say is that it was a matter of having the awareness around it, but not necessarily needing to know exactly what it was. It was just, I'm aware and it's leaving now. Like, I'm letting it go now. And how fascinating is, we don't always need to know what those patterns are, where they come from. They could be intergenerational things. They could be things we picked up when we were 5. Who knows? But the beautiful thing is that there's a way through. And something else you said, which is really resonating, is, the voice is a reflection of who we are. And there's a quote by Henry Longfellow, the poet, that says, "The voice is the organ of the soul." And I just love that because, if just thinking about that, I mean, it truly is. It's our means of expressing ourselves in the world, whether that's through the way that we're speaking or singing or writing. I mean, it's all throat chakra energy is the expression of what's happening within our energy and then out into the world. So it's a very important thing to understand how we can use it to be our authentic selves.
Right. Well, let's see. We have a comment. Kathleen Wesselman has mentioned that she really loves singing and she misses singing in her church.
Oh, yes, Kathleen, I resonate with that so much. I used to love singing in church and hearing the acoustics in church, and
Wow.
in a choir, you're breathing with people, you're singing and resonating. It's really a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And I know people are doing things like concert things online.
Mm-hmm.
But what you just said, and this is part of what about dancing too, is because in the COVID times, people are trying to do these dance events online and everything. Oh, now that's interesting. I just took a deep breath, right? And what I remembered is a lot of times the way people stay together in dancing is they breathe together,
Mm.
and they in time with the music, and that a certain gesture might be an inhalation and a exhalation, and it's not really singing, but it is sound, and it is this energetic physical harmony of breathing together, which I don't know if you haven't had that experience. I don't know how you can explain it to somebody, but other than to say you would enjoy having this with someone if you would give it a shot.
Yes, yes. So beautifully said, harmony, being in harmony with somebody in that way. It starts with the breath, absolutely. It's our way of connecting with people. There's a magical experience, and I mean, it's about brainwave entrainment, our heartbeats connect.
Mm.
There's something very powerful about singing and dancing in community with people. And if we think about it, this is our birthright. I mean, we are meant to do this as humans. It's like food. It's necessary to do it. And I think we've lost some of that in our modern culture. We don't give ourselves permission to sing and dance in the same way that our ancestors did. And so I think there's a time, this is an important time to reclaim that.
Right, right, and it just came into my mind. I have friends. They live down the street from me, and they always had a lot of kids, and they did a lot of music lessons, and um, they have like their own little ensemble.
Yeah,
because they have the kids of different ages, so the kids have different vocal pitches, and they play different instruments, and I don't think I've ever seen a television in their house, but like old times, they entertain themselves by learning songs and singing together.
mm-hmm.
And what Kathleen said reminded me that still people sing together in church. But a friend of mine who is a pianist, and she plays music for dance, over the last 15 or 20 years, she said it's harder for her to teach people to adapt the music for dance because they haven't done music in church as frequently. And she said when you grow up with that, you learn skills that you don't realize you had of working in harmony with other people, maybe even on different tracks, different vocal tracks, or the music is one thing and the voices are another. And she said there's just a lot that she found directly transferable from playing in church to playing for dance class, that she had to break out and start to explain and teach, because, as you said, people are being disconnected from this practice
Yeah,
of making something together, even if it's only sound for this transitory amount of time. That's making something together.
definitely. Yeah.
And there's really no replacement for that. And I think it's also true that in these times, maybe people can start to sing together at home, in after dinner, because people are eating together again, which was something that had gotten very kind of fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is how many lessons are encoded in songs.
Mm-hmm.
Just rhythmic lessons, things about stories, things, and also the whole arc of a song, which teaches you the kind of the arc of an event that you don't even think you're learning, you know,
Definitely.
beginning, middle, and end, and challenging thing and resolution and getting ready for the next thing. So when you mentioned you were doing a workshop coming up, I'm going to put this on the screen so that people could find the link and sign up. That's this weekend, right?
Yes, on Saturday, the 27th.
Awesome.
Yes.
And what time?
It is at 12 o'clock Eastern time. It's 2 hours, so 12 to 2 Eastern time. Pacific time, that's 9 a.m. And then Central European time, because we do have people in Europe that are going to be joining, that's 6 p.m. for them.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's all on Zoom. And this link right here that you've posted is for Eventbrite, and people can sign up. And what we're going to be doing in that workshop, I'm so excited, yay, is we're going to be singing together. But the cool thing is that it's a no pressure thing. So, if you want to be on mute and just sing in your own space and enjoy the feeling, you can do that, right? And it's all levels. So, something that I deeply believe in is that everybody has a powerful voice. Everybody can sing. Doesn't matter what what your conditioning is around that. If you think that you're not a singer or whatever, no, everybody can sing. And I'm going to be showing you practices to help awaken your voice so that you can, first of all, experience the healing power of your voice. So it's really about feeling that resonance, that vibration of your own instrument within your body and learning how to tune the chakras, attune yourself to the highest frequencies using your voice. We're going to be doing a yoga practice and incorporate mantras and tones and sounds, breath into the yoga practice, which is an amazing way to awaken the voice. So it's a great warm up. For example, I use this vocal vinyasa practice before coming on videos like this, or basically to get me into my expression so that I can, show up and communicate. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to do a sound bath after that, which is, yes, I love it. So if some of you have not experienced a sound bath, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's like a deep meditation. And it's accompanied by, I will be playing some crystal alchemy bowls and singing, serenading you. So it's going to be lovely. And then, yeah, we'll have questions and sharing.
Wonderful. It sounds great. It just sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
I was when you were talking about this, I was remembering I worked with a musician for a while, and he had this huge gong. It was probably,
yes, I love gongs.
Probably 2.5 or slightly more feet across. And it had, he carried it all over the world, but it had this tremendous resonance. And if you stood by it, when he played it, you would feel the vibrations move through your body. And when he would play, the sound would echo out and make a space. And so I would dance and he would play. And what did he call it? He called it more than music, more than movement. And the other thing you said earlier that I really like is it's everything is movement. You can't make sound without moving some part of your body.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think that people, even talking, they think, well, this all comes from my throat and out my mouth. And sometimes I think, well, what if the sound is coming into me? And I just, what if I don't have to project, like people say project? And I say, what if the sound is coming in, even though I'm talking? And then I just play with how that changes, what happens in me. And so the idea that we can play with our voice, play with our movement. I love that you're going to do the yoga practice with the sound practice. I'm excited too.
I'm so glad you're going to be there. Yeah. There's also, if people are not able to join live, I will be sharing a replay of it. If you sign up, you'll receive the replay basically. So that gives people a good option. And then one more thing you mentioned about listening. And I think that's a really important thing to speak into when it comes to music and, if even with dance, harmonizing your breath with somebody through dance, there's a listening that happens there. And even a lot of, I saw a really interesting program once that was basically a research project where a company was studying symphony orchestras and how they play together and how they listen to one another and how they watch the conductor and how they work as a group in such a beautiful, coordinated, nuanced way, and how they can apply some of those strategies into a corporate team, for example, or other places where we're wanting to collaborate. And the implication of that is music and dance and making art together. It's not only deeply healing and a joyful connection experience, but it's also so key for us right now as a humanity. I mean, most of the problems in the world are happening because we're not listening to one another and not understanding one another. And so applying these skills and becoming adept at, first of all, listening to yourself first. And that's one of the things that a voice practice really helps with, is being able to listen within to that inner voice, and then also listening to other people. So that's one of the main, I think, one of the most valuable things about it.
I really like the levels of voice. The voice can mean so many different things.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this and even sound in dreams. And I had somebody came on really early in this whole series, and she talked all about listening. Then another person came on and talked about dreams and hearing things in dreams and how this can influence your life. And oh man, then I'm thinking about how when you don't say something, right, and you hold it in, how that feels in your whole body in terms of blocking not just the energy, not just the voice, not just the words, but the energy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It can lead to sickness, stuffing things inside. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is just fun. Rush, I'm so glad we talked. And Kathleen said she thinks the workshop sounds wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Kathleen. Yes, I'm so excited to be offering this. This is all of my favorite things, and I feel really humbled every time I offer this, the beauty that it is to see people feel free in their voice,
Right.
and to empower people to say, wow, yes, I do have a powerful voice. I can enjoy this. This is for me. I love that more than anything. That's what keeps me wanting to do this work.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, and listening to your own voice in yourself, finding the words to help somebody else. How powerful and beautiful is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just glad you could share today and be here. And again, I'll paste the link in the comments to these to our video, so that if people didn't get a chance to write it down, they can.
Beautiful. Yeah, and if anybody is not able to join the workshop, I also do have a free link to a vocal vinyasa class. So you can also click that link and follow that, and it's just a free little gift that you can use in your own practice.
Wonderful. I think that's in the description. I think I put that in the description for people.
Perfect.
So you can find that. And I'm already anticipating the sound bath.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be deep, profound.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you this weekend.
Thank you, Laura. And if anybody has questions or ever wants to reach out to me about the voice, anything at all, it's my mission and purpose to support, seriously. So feel free to reach out. My website is very simple. It's just rushdorsett.com, and you can send me a message. And thank you all for listening. And thank you, Laura, for having this platform.
You're welcome. And I'm so glad you could come. This will be in the Healing Path. And if you make comments, Rush can respond. I can make sure she gets tagged if she didn't see it. And we can just keep the discussion going on speaking and healing and speaking our truth, I think, the important thing.
Definitely. Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. I'll see you on Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow.
That's it. Take care.
All right.